Today, a conversation with Lamont Roach Jr. Lamont is a fighter out of the Washington, D.C. area who made news recently because he has an upcoming bout March 1st at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, only on Amazon pay-per-view, with arguably the most popular fighter in the entire sport, Gervonta Tank Davis. Also of note, Gervonta out of the Baltimore area and Lamont Roach out of the Washington, D.C. area. Something of an interesting mid-Atlantic rivalry. But I didn't really know anything about him. I didn't know much about his gym, the No Excuse Boxing Club out of Capitol Heights, Maryland, just outside Washington, D.C. in the PG County area. And so that's what this conversation is. We talk about the 2 times he fought Tank in the amateurs, what he has learned watching about Tank, his footwork, power, speed, IQ, why he believes that folks worried about the size difference are kind of overstating things, and a whole lot more. One note here, you'll hear us refer to the bout taking place on December 16th. Obviously, the bout has now been moved to March 1st. I recorded this interview at a time when the bout was still scheduled to take place at that time. I was waiting for the announcement. It never came, or at least it was delayed anyway. Now it's here. It has been officially announced, but of course moved to a March 1st date. So we'll refer to the fight happening on December 16th, but just know the fight takes place March 1st at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Without further ado, here's my conversation with Lamont. All the way from Capitol Heights, Maryland, and soon to be in Houston, Texas, one of the biggest fights of the year when this gentleman, Lamont Roach Jr., takes on Gervonta Tank Davis for all the marbles on a PBC pay-per-view. Lamont, how are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, thank you for having me. First question I think everyone in the area would want to know is, why isn't this fight happening in the DMV?
Whew, that's a good question. There's questions that I need answered too. I'm not sure, honestly. Maybe it's a strategic thing where it comes with the money aspect, but everyone knows he's a sellout. So, like, he sells out crowds, and he sold out the Capital One Arena before. So, why not? Even if he wanted to go bigger, maybe the Ravens Stadium. So, who knows? Was
it something you guys requested?
No.
No.
Not me. Mm-mm.
No.
So I'm pretty sure, like, I would have wanted it here, whether it be Baltimore or DC or anywhere in this Maryland area.
Right. It was originally, the plan was for the DMV, and then it was a scheduling issue, as I understand.
Nope.
No.
It's always targeted for Houston.
Oh, really? Okay. So some of those rumors then about the DMV were premature or just straight up wrong then.
It's probably just speculation.
Speculation.
Yeah.
It would have been cool.
Definitely.
It would have been cool.
Most definitely.
Also, like, it would have been, I'll tell you this much. I was at the Tank Davis-Hector Garcia fight because that was the Boots Ennis fight as well, and everything else. It would have been a homecoming for you, but the crowd would have been interesting too, right?
That's the thing, and that's what I think might have played a factor in, the decision-making where it was going, where, his GTD promotions and PBC promotions, So maybe, I don't think he's probably used to a fight where the crowd is 50-50 or maybe more guys cheering for me than he might have. So who knows? For folks who may not know your story, I'd love to get to know it more. You're from Washington, D.C. You were born in Washington, D.C. Yes.
We're in Capitol Heights, obviously. Did you go to school in D.C.? Did you go to school in PG County? What's the story?
I went to school in D.C. as a kid, and then when my parents moved to Maryland, I went to school in Maryland.
How old were you when you moved to Maryland?
I was about, who knows?
Pretty young.
Yeah, I was young. I think I went to my first Maryland school when I was in like 2nd grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it about this area? I mean, you got Mark Tusharp Johnson, Sugar Ray Leonard, Lamont Peterson, another Lamont like you, and now this one. Like, this area just seems to produce a lot of good boxers. But, like, is there a story there?
I mean, it might be something in the water. Who knows? They got that thing called DC Tap Water. It's just, so who knows?
Got to be careful with that.
You gotta be careful with that for sure. But I think this area just breeds, fighters in the gym. I think just our environment just breeds fighters, period, inside and outside the gym. And I think when it comes into the gym, like, it's this area, not just DC alone, but DC, Maryland, Virginia, it's like a hotbed for boxing. And it's been like that for as long as I've been boxing and way before I've been boxing.
PG County in particular, with the NBA, all the guys that go to the NBA, all of the boxing. Also something about PG County, too, that just turns out hungry athletes. I think maybe that's a good way to put it. I don't know.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then I guess just the proof is in the pudding. Even if like I said, it doesn't matter whether it's DC, Prince George's County. We all kind of culminate together, especially when it comes to sports. And everybody in whatever sport it is interact or encounter each other and make each other better. It's just a push. It's just a grind for people to want to be the best.
First time in a boxing gym, how old were you?
I was probably 9. I
9.
was 9 for sure.
And then when did you really start competing at like a pretty serious level?
10. I was 9 turning 10. I had my first fight, I want to say like 3 or 4 weeks in the gym, like for my first month.
It had to be weird being good at boxing and being 10 years old, especially at school. Did they ever test you?
Nah,
No?
I ain't never got tested in school.
Really?
Uh-uh.
Oh, you
But
got
I was like, before I was boxing, I was already a fighter. If you want to ask my parents, they'd tell you like I was a pretty rambunctious kid. I was always, in the stuff and in the trouble. More so fights than the normal kids. So they just found a way to channel my energy in football and boxing.
And when did you know, okay, I'm gonna be a pro? Like this is a thing I'm gonna do. Was there a moment? Was there a tournament? Was there a win?
It wasn't necessarily a moment, tournament, or win, but I want to say when I got to high school and I was still having like football dreams. Football was my first love. I was still having
A little
football
undersized
dreams.
for that, huh?
What? I'm losing weight. I'm losing weight to still for fights, and everybody else is gaining and getting big and all this and all that. And I see the football team and I'm like, yeah, this ain't for me. Like it's 1,000 other people in my position that's way better than me in the whole United States. I'm the best in my age and weight in the United States. So I'm gonna stick with what I know. And, I just, kept my head down and kept working hard and tried to be the best that I could be.
So you're 28 right now as we speak, right?
I'm 29.
29.
I turned 29 in August.
Okay, so relatively new. Me too. I turned 45 in August. Yeah, a little bit older. You turned pro at what age?
I turned pro at 18.
18.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you had a career. It's been kind of building up to this point. I want to talk about some of the individual fights. But when you mapped out like why you got in, it was for fights like this, right? It had to be.
For sure.
So are you, for your own schedule, are you on time? Is everything, because sometimes I ask fighters and they're like, should it happen too soon or it happened too late?
Right.
Is it happening on time?
It's happening right on time.
Okay, tell me why. Help me understand why.
So this is how I put it. I believe I know I should have beat Jamel. Like I was 24 fighting for my first world title. I just turned 24. Fighting for my first world title. That was the path that I thought was perfect timing. Obviously, it didn't happen that way. So now that after that fight, I regrouped. I got myself together. I got back in the gym and I learned the things that I learned from that fight to be where I am now. I won a world title as an underdog, no promoter. And now we're in a position where we have multiple things on the table because we bet it all on ourselves. And that's what drives me. That's what drives me. Like I have the underdog mentality. I'm the underdog again. Southpaw again. And I think it's here. I've been in the talks for a Tank fight probably a year ago.
After he got out of jail?
Yeah, no, before.
Oh, before that, okay.
Yeah, so maybe 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago.
Okay.
He ended up fighting Hector. Hector was the champ. So that was the thing, because I was the mandatory for Hector Garcia. And he chose to fight Tank. And, similar situation, actually pretty much the same situation, where I'm fighting Tank, moving up to fight Tank. So he did that. They were calling me to see if I wanted to be, an opponent for Tank then. And we accepted. It just, they just didn't go our route.
What was the biggest lesson from the Herring fight? Because you rocked him in, the 11th round?
Yeah.
I mean, he was on skates.
Tell me about it.
So when you went back to the dressing room when it was over, what were you telling yourself?
I can't let that happen again. I can't take no for an answer. I just adapted that they aren't going to give me anything, no matter how good you fight or how good you made the adjustment and anything like that. Again, the cards were stacked against me. I was the underdog on a different promoter's card, and I knew coming into that fight that I was probably going to have to knock him out. That's what we trained for. I just started a little late, so that's what I really adapted to my game, just not starting late.
Do you have a promoter now? I was looking this up. I actually couldn't find an answer. Okay, you don't. That's funny. I was interesting. You fought on a bunch of DAZN Golden Boy cards, right? As I recall, more recently anyway.
Nah,
Not the pro boxing one, but
before I fought Hector, I was signed to Golden Boy.
Okay.
And my contract expired, and we just went our own route.
Right. What is it like trying to figure out what promoter to go with, or to not go with one? Like, why did you ultimately decide to say, you know what, I think we're going to sit this one out. We're going to go on our own from here.
Me and my dad, we felt like it was best for us, and it put us in a position where, look at us now.
Yeah.
We're making a hell of a payday, and we're really chasing greatness. Obviously, a lot of people are doubting us, and they feel as though, Gervonta is superior to me, and they're just gonna learn the hard way. But going our own way got us here. We ain't get here for no reason, so we're gonna complete our mission.
What's the best part about working with a promoter? What's the worst part?
The best part is, the best part about working with a promoter is that you don't have to do all the work yourself. They cover everything. They have opponents ready, or whatever the case may be, deals that they can culminate because they have the fiscal aspect. Like they have the money. They have it. They have the backing. They have the promotion where they have the platform, and hey, our guy's fighting this guy, this and that, whoop de whoop. They're gonna hype it up. They're gonna do whatever they do to push you. That's what they have with the promoters. That's the best thing. The worst thing about working probably with a promoter is choosing the promoter. Some people have promotional disputes and stuff like that. I'm just lucky to have a great team in my corner where I didn't have to go through that.
Fair enough. The Hector Garcia fight, where you picked up the WBA title, I'm going to ask you the same question. That was a victory, obviously.
Yeah.
When you went back to the dressing room, what was the thing that occurred to you about that fight? Why it went right? Like, why everything lined up?
I just knew that I've been working, and I knew he wasn't better than me. I just had to go out there and show it. For all those who don't know, I'm pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
You can curse.
Like,
it's okay. Yeah.
All right. So like, I'm pretty fucking good. Like, I'm a good fighter. Like, I'm really one of those ones who can do just about everything in the ring. And my mental is on 1,000. My confidence is on 2,000, and the skill is going to be 10 times of everything I got.
And so the McCrory fight, the last one, it was a destruction.
Yeah.
Right? I felt it's rare that I watch a boxing fight. I'm like, I legitimately feel bad for this guy, especially the body shots, right?
Man,
the second one, I think it was the fourth round.
Oh my God!
Were you surprised he got up?
What? Yes. I was surprised. I was so surprised. Like, I was like, there's no way he got up. But you know why I think he got up? And I keep saying this over and over. I think he peeked at my dad in the corner, because when he was down, he was facing our corner. I think he seen my dad jumping up like, we got him. That he got up and was just like, all right, I'm gonna thug it out. And he lasted 3 more rounds. He was tough.
He was tough.
He was.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, his corner threw the towel, right?
Yes.
Yeah. They had to save him from himself a little bit.
I think the referee should have stopped it, but it is what it is.
But it had to feel good being back in DC. It was the Pro Box channel.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I wonder, like, do you ever look at, like, each fight means a little something different? Maybe you don't. But does this one qualify as that? And if so, in what way?
Definitely. That was something that I wanted to do for my fans, my family, my people. The last time I fought in DC was 2017. I fought at the MGM in
Oxon Hill,
Maryland. Excuse me. But I told them after that fight, I was the headliner on ESPN. I told them after that fight, I'm gonna win a world championship. I'm gonna come home and I'm gonna defend. That's exactly what I did. I stuck to my word.
That 2017 card, was that wasn't the Lamont Peterson card, was it?
I was the main event. I fought
Okay.
some guy. I forget his name. Ray Perez.
It blows my mind when I interview like fighters and they're like, I don't remember the guy who I viciously KO'd. What was his name? I'd be like, I just looking at highlights all the time.
Yeah.
All right, I want to come back to your story a little bit, but I also want to talk about Tank a little bit. Tell me what you saw in that Frank Martin fight. I was there. Tell me what you saw for that.
I seen Tank use his experience, his boxing skill, grit, and power, to win a fight that I think would have went that way. Honestly, I didn't think it was going to be. I thought it was going to be more challenging, but it was pretty easy. If people know boxing, like it was pretty easy for Tank. Even though they saying, "Oh, he got hit, he was getting out boxing, whoop-de-whoop, blah blah blah," it was easy. It's mental. You could see it. Frank was depleting himself and just like, very, very, very nervous. A lot of nervous energy was coming out. He was done probably like round 6.
He was biting on a lot of feints.
Yeah.
Remember that? He was like big reactions, right?
But he's like when it comes to like time overall in boxing, he's relatively inexperienced, especially to someone who's been boxing since he was 7.
Right.
So like it takes account in when it comes to world championship boxing. Don't get me wrong, Frank Martin's a good fighter, and he was there fighting in that championship for a reason. He's one of the better 35s out there, and he's been proven in his other fights. But it's just like there's a big gap between his skill level and his experience level when it comes to Tank.
Good athlete, but he was overwhelmed in the end.
Yeah.
Did Tank look? Okay, so the opponent wasn't up to the challenge. Did Tank look at all rusty to you or not?
Rusty? I don't think so.
Not quite?
I don't think so.
But it was a good fight to get under his belt before getting back to a world champion quality opponent, no?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And because you got to think, even though Frank Martin wasn't a champion, he was, the top 3 contender, in line for that championship. So he definitely worked his way up. But I just think that, the difference, the gap between them was just way too wide.
I know you're not going to tell me your game plan, nor should you, but let me ask a question maybe a little bit differently. Do you think Gervonta does better when he is leading, like he did on the front foot against Frank Martin, or, granted it wasn't as spectacular a finish, but he was on the back foot against Pitbull, and actually he did get a finish on the back foot against Roley.
Yep.
Where does he really thrive or struggle?
He thrives when he's comfortable, and he's not his best when he's uncomfortable, for sure. That Frank Martin fight, he was super comfortable, super. So he was on his front foot, but that was, I guess, Frank Martin's game plan was to use his feet and box and stuff like that. That made him super comfortable. It made him super comfortable. He didn't have to worry about much, because Frank was worried about what Tank had to bring to the table. So I think he thrives when he's comfortable. So either if he's comfortable going backwards, it's good for him as well too. Like I think with Roley, he was comfortable, or he got comfortable.
Right.
Because the first couple of rounds he was getting touched a little bit and he was a little frantic. But he found a rhythm, and then he figured Roley's rhythm, and then boom.
What's kind of funny about Tank is like you watch his highlights and it's like, Jesus Christ, this guy can punch, right? But it's kind of funny. I've talked to a couple of Tank opponents along the way, and they told me something kind of interesting, which was
that he can't punch for real.
No. They didn't say he couldn't punch. They did say he could punch, but what they said was that people slept on the reality that he was not the hardest hitter that they'd ever fought, but that his timing and his accuracy, plus decent power, made the result what it was. You've faced him in the amateurs, obviously, and that's a different ball game, different gloves, different time in your life, whatever. But what do you make of Roley and other guys being like, he can punch, but he's not the hardest puncher that they've ever seen or felt?
I mean, I would say the same thing but that was a long time ago. But I've been saying this myself, like just watching like because I watch boxing all the time, so of course I'm gonna see his fights. He is accurate. Like, he hit people on the button. That's one thing he does. That's one thing he does do is he hit guys on the button, and I noticed that. Like, I noticed that he really has pinpoint accuracy when it comes to hitting people right there on their little soft spot.
I'm sure as a guy who studied it, what do you see in Tank that other people sometimes miss? And you fought him too, obviously.
Let me see how to answer this without giving some.
I have to
stuff
ask.
away.
This is my one shot. I gotta get some intel.
Man, we're gonna see. Make him uncomfortable. How about that?
Let me ask this: would you consider him a smart fighter?
Yeah.
Yes. Would you consider him to have very good footwork?
Maybe.
Okay, it's a maybe. Would you consider him to have good ring generalship?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And would you consider, what would you say about his, it's not really ever tested that much?
His defense.
His defense. And his durability.
It's not tested. He proved that he's durable in the pit bull fight because he had one hand and he was still defending, wasn't getting hit a lot. But he was a little uncomfortable though, because Pitbull was throwing some heat at him. But you know, he still showed good defense in that fight.
What about his durability? His chin also, you know, it's kind of funny. Like I know you're never supposed to judge a fight by how a guy looks. I know. But at the same time, I could not help but notice after the Frank Martin fight, his face was real. Like, and again, I've covered a bunch of his fights, and in person, his face was a little messed up after that fight. And I think partly it was the glove,
probably like
getting hit.
He's light skinned, so.
Okay. There is that factor.
Yeah, he's light skinned.
Nevertheless, though, his durability, is that something you want to test?
For sure.
Okay.
For sure.
How does he do against volume punchers?
Who's the volume puncher that he fought? Pitbull.
Pitbull's probably the closest. Leo Santa Cruz is a volume puncher, but he's
tiny though.
And also, a tragic mistake in that one. Tragic.
Boom. Yeah, he's small. He's tiny. Like, so, I would say Pitbull is a solid volume puncher that he fought. And he, like I said, he did exceptional. I think the last 4 rounds he had one hand. So it's different. He did well for what he could do there. But if there's a durable volume puncher in front of him, I think he'll pretty much look the same as he did with Pitbull, unless somebody catch him or something like that.
All right, so last thing on Tank here. He will give up early rounds, as we all know, to make reads, to do whatever he needs to do so that eventually he can close the show. And that is typically a very effective way for him to go. He's obviously undefeated. So I'm wondering, like, how do you see the way to beat him as you have to take the fight to him and overwhelm him, or is it I have to bank early rounds?
Depending on how I'm feeling that night. If he want to give away early rounds with me, that's stupid.
Take him, right?
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to take him. And next thing you know, you look up, then it's going to be probably a drastic change in his game plan. That's obviously going to be either something that he has to like make up for or whatever the case may be. But now he's going to be on the chase for either points or a knockout, which is not going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to let that happen. So, you know, my best advice for him, if I would have had any, is you better not give me no early rounds. It's gonna be a long night for you, buddy.
If Tank does have one advantage over you, if I may, it is that he has been in the spotlight for a long time, right? He's been on these huge. I've covered for Showtime.
Yeah.
Huge weigh-ins, huge crowds.
Yeah.
You know, the whole 9 yards. And I know a lot of fighters are like. So there's two kinds of fighters from the outside looking in, because that's the position that I occupy, which is sometimes you turn the lights on and the fighters come to life. And sometimes they turn the lights on and it's a little much. Have you given any thought to what it will be like on a big spectacle Tank Davis card? It'll be a ton of media, a ton of frenzy.
I got a taste of it. I know it won't be like, it'll be a different magnitude, but I've been signed to Golden Boys ever since I've turned pro. So I've been there, not necessarily the main event, But on a bigger card or a bigger spectrum, because I have been the headliner for ESPN and all that stuff with a big promoter, which is Golden Boy, for years. But I've been there. I've been on Canelo cards. I've been on Triple G headline. I've been on a lot of big fights. My pro debut, I fought at home, Bernard Hopkins versus Bebu Shumanov.
Wow.
Yeah, the whole nine. So it was. I've been there. I've been through the press runs, the media runs. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a lot more, but I'm ready. I can see it coming. I'm already used to it.
Do you like doing media? And it's okay if the answer is no. I will not be offended.
I like doing media to a certain extent.
Okay.
As long as I'm comfortable and I'm not getting the same questions asked over and over again within the span of the same 3 hours with 6 different people, I'm okay.
I have terrible news for you. That's what's going to happen on Friday.
But I know, though. That's what I'm saying. I know. But,
all right. If I may, one of the big talking points around this fight is that, okay, they'll say, this is what I've seen, right? I'm just going to repeat what the internet says, for better or for worse.
All right.
Hey, Lamont Roach is a quality fighter, but he's a 130 guy. Why is he fighting Tank Davis, who at one point was a 130 guy, but isn't really a 130 guy, who's fought as high as 140, obviously? So explain to me why you believe you are not undersized against Tank Davis.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
You seen him, right?
In person, yes. Like this, yeah.
You see me, right?
Yes.
Do you think I'm the naturally bigger guy?
I think you guys are roughly equivalent in size. Roughly
Probably,
equivalent, yeah.
Yes, roughly. But I am bigger than him. I'm bigger than him and taller than him. He's just he's fighting at 35 because he's comfortable at 135. To me, I think so. I'm pretty sure he can make 130 if he wanted to. Small legs, you know what I'm saying? Like, he can make 130. But he probably isn't comfortable making the weight. Why? He has success at 135. Why go down? Why break his comfortability? People begging him to go up. He's not a big guy. So
What's your walk-around weight?
my walk around weight is probably like 150.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's pretty big. How much weight do you cut on fight week?
We have a system, so I probably cut about the last 4 or 5 pounds, if anything. I'll be 5 pounds out probably 2 weeks before the fight.
All right. Yeah, you're good to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just sauna it out?
No, I don't sauna it out. I eat every day and work out, and I'll be straight.
That's it. Just a little bit of dehydration.
Yeah, just it.
Okay. For folks who don't understand, what is the difference? Okay, let me ask it this way. How much is a difference of 5 pounds? How much is a difference weight class 130 to 135?
It's a big difference. In most cases, it's a big difference. Those guys at 35 are like coming down. Like I told you, my walk around weight is about 150. So them guys are probably coming down from like, especially the undisciplined guys, they're coming down from like 60. And the guys that are killing themselves to make weight coming down from the big frame coming down. They probably have a little bit more pop, a little bit more power, a little bit more durability if you're coming up. Depends on who you're fighting or who you're talking about at 130. But those 5 pounds make a difference. Some people can't cut the last 5 pounds and actually can't make the weight. Like, they probably get stuck at a wall or something like that, where it's just like, okay, their body's depleted, their body's completely dehydrated, everything.
Like Ryan Garcia against Tank,
for
right?
sure. I think that was, I don't know.
Tell me what I'm missing.
I think that was dumb.
What Garcia did.
Garcia did. If you're gonna make a catch weight, why make it 1 pound above the weight that you can fight for the titles, and you don't have a rehydration clause? If he would have made weight, there wouldn't have been no rehydration clause. If he would have fought at 135.
Right.
He asked for a catch weight, so they asked for a rehydration clause. 1 pound, bro.
I don't think he could get to 35 physically.
Maybe. That might be the case. But why agree to 1 pound above? That don't make sense. That's basically making 135. I don't do this, but starve. What the? like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Go
stop.
hungry.
Go hit the sauna real quick.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, there was a few things he has played wrong of late in his career anyway.
Tell me about it.
Does it bother you that folks are like, okay, we'll give Lamont some props, but he's overmatched because of the whole size thing? Does the assessment
No,
piss
it
you
just
off
get
at
okay, maybe a little bit.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. Because some people don't know what they talking about. That's the only thing. Like, it's 1,000 of them too. So like, I really don't care because one, you can't beat me. Whoever's saying whatever they talking about, you can't beat me. You can't do what I do on whatever scale that you want to measure it to. You can't do what I do, and you are watching me. Essentially, whether you're a fan or a hater, you're still watching me. So I don't care about it. It's just like, why? Like, but I get it. Like, I get it.
What do you offer Tank Davis that he hasn't seen before? Now, an understanding that you guys fought in the amateurs, so it's not like you've literally never seen it before. But I mean, in the sense of he's fought a lot of interesting body types, styles.
He definitely has. I will bring the best IQ, the best boxing IQ to the ring. Let me see. He fought some gritty guys, but like, it's just a combination of everything. I think, honestly speaking, right now and time and point, when he fought his opponents, I think I'm the best quality opponent when it comes to the fighters that he fought, and here's why. Okay, Barrios now is a 147-pound champ. Mm-hmm. When he fought that 140 fight, I think he was a little depleted, and I do think that there was a little rehydration clause in
I believe
fight
that's
as well.
right.
Yes. So he wasn't at full 100% potential, and he wasn't the best skillfully. That's just skillfully as far as like attributes, athleticism, defense, and ring generalship. Because they land on his height. He's 6'1", probably 6'2". So, not saying that it can't happen, but Tank is like 5'5", bro. 5'5". You 5'5", 140 pounds. I mean, you 6'2", 140 pounds fighting a 5'5" guy that's a naturally small 135. And you get bullied. So that's like, you know what I'm saying? That plays a factor. Leo was a good fighter, but he was puny, too small. Pitbull was a good match, but the boxing IQ. He's a brawler.
He got solved by round 8. I mean, it was after that he was just chasing him.
He's just chasing him. It's just like, once you get out of the way, Pitbull can't hit you, you don't have no worries. That's about it. I have no worries. He could chase you all around the ring as you want. Barrio showed it too. That's it. All you have to do is get out the way. Who else was a formidable foe for Tank that's really like, that people really thought like, hey, this might.
That's a good question.
Exactly.
Well, Ryan Garcia, but then you saw what happened, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be Rolly either.
No, Rolly just hit hard.
Yeah.
That's it.
And says crazy things. He also does that.
That too. Yes, that's very much hype. Yeah. Rolly had what? When they fought, probably won all his fights except 2 by knockout.
Yeah.
So everybody loves knockouts. Knockout sales. So obviously they thought it was gonna be like, oh, he hits hard, and I'm the guy. I have the same, if not better, boxing IQ to him, and I'm sticking to my guns. We already know I'm tough. I got hard. We already know that. They know that too. But it's just it's a mental thing, bro. I'm bringing it, and then the skill, like my skill is superior to the guys that he fought in the time that he fought them.
What is your personal favorite win in your own career? Is it the Garcia win because of the title, or is it something else?
For sure.
That's it?
Yep.
Is that the one you're most proud of?
Yep.
Just because of it's the title, or I guess in terms of performance-based, do you have one?
Performance-based? I like my last fight. I was clicking on all cylinders. I was on go. But maybe Hector. Personally, I think I won 8 rounds when I fought Hector. Maybe 9. I watched it again. I didn't see anything that he did that can sway a judge to even score a fight for him. But that's what you encounter when you don't sign with the big promoter and you're fighting the champ and it's pay-per-view on their card. So, that's what comes with it.
Do you like that Teddy Atlas quote, 36 minutes to make life fair? Do you like that?
Do I? I like it, but I'm going to use my 36 minutes to make life greater odds for me.
Yeah.
Not fair.
Do you have, like when I think about it, like, okay, so the benefit of this fight is obviously to raise your profile. Mm-hmm. Gonna make I'm hoping a pretty good check, obviously. I'm assuming. But like, you'd never want to count a win before it happens, but have you thought about life after the fight? Like what it could look like?
That's all I think about.
And so when you do that, what do you see?
A rematch.
There are rematch clause in this fight.
I hope. Nah, it's. I'm pretty sure. Okay, look at this. You got the face of boxing fighting a guy that's a champion or whatever the case may be. One of the best sellers in boxing right now. If I beat him, it's a major upset. Why wouldn't there be a rematch?
Right. That's your rematch clause, essentially, yes. A victory.
A victory.
Yeah.
For sure.
But in terms of like life afterwards, have you?
I think about me being on top of the sport. That's what I really think about. Like, it's going to like really like turn the boxing game upside down, and a lot of people. I already got my post-fight speech ready and everything. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Like I really have it ready, and I got it memorized too.
So this is the Lamont Roach moment. This is you seem like super dialed in about it.
I'm not here for nothing, man.
By the way, you have to help me. Look at me. I'm a 45-year-old white dad. Like, what the fuck do I know? You called him a measy on Twitter. Please tell me what a measy is. I do not know what that is.
Okay, so for those who don't know, usually people in this area consider, and this is just usually, because a lot of people from DC, everybody from DC don't use that term. A lot of people from DC don't use that term. I really got that from my men from Southwest that I know. They call everybody measies. Basically, they call everybody measy. But essentially, to the entire world and even here, they consider somebody from Maryland a measy. So that's where it comes from.
But is it like it's insulting, right? But
see, yes, I said it insulting.
Yes, because it seemed like you were like trying to like
yes.
needle him a little bit.
So a measy to me is you don't necessarily have to be from Maryland. It's just a coincidence that he's from Maryland.
I see.
A measy is just like a term that you're probably associated and you're familiar with. Bama.
Bama, I know Bama. Yes, I'm very familiar.
There you go.
Been called it a time or two.
A Bama, somebody who's just like goofy and wild or whatever the case may be. Like, it's definitely demeaning.
Okay, so it's funny you bring all this up because I saw you going back and forth with him a little bit, and again, I've been at the Frank Martin fight. I was at him and the tall guy, the Aztec warrior. I forget his name.
Mario Barrios.
Barrios. They didn't really do this, but him and Rolly did it. Like he will absolutely against Ryan Garcia was
Tig on a tear for sure.
That's right. Are you prepared to like have that be a part? Because it can also be a distraction depending on how much it plays a role in the pre-fight process.
Yeah, it can, but I don't want people to. I don't care what people think, but I know that, like I said, I've been knowing him since we was kids. It's just we just so happen to be in the same, like, we're fighting each other. He follows me, I follow him. Like, we see the stuff. I don't have no problem with him. And it's not going to be fake boxing beef or whatever the case may be. It's competition.
You know Calvin Ford, and you know his team, right? Like I'm assuming.
I'm very familiar.
It's
with
kind of funny. Like I don't know exactly how everyone in the DMV is, but like, there's Barry Hunter over at Headbangers, and there's a bunch of gyms in the area. It seems like most of them get along, right?
Most of them.
Do y'all have a cool? I know Barry's cool with Calvin. Are y'all cool with Calvin? Yeah.
Yeah, we're cool with Calvin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
For those who don't know, like so it's just like it's always been competition. Like obviously we fought, but I fought people from his gym as well. Like different people from his gym as well. I won those fights, but but like. So obviously, to me and to a lot of other people, we have the best gym in the city or in the area, and and we prove championships. We got multiple national champions. So if y'all want to debate, we could pull the receipts out. We've been the best for a long time. I'm not gonna lie, we've been the best for a long time. But Calvin has good fighters. And specifically, his gym has had good fighters, and eventually, or a lot of times, our gym fights his gym. So it's always been competition. There'd be my dad as a trainer versus Calvin as a trainer. It'll be me versus one of their fighters. Kids from our gym versus their kids from their gym. And I think, I ain't trying to throw this out there, but we up on the score. Let's put that out there now. We're just trying to up it one more in December. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
But it's just it's competition though. That's why we're here in the first place. Me and Tank fought each other as kids, and people don't understand that. Like it ain't like unless you got personal beef with somebody. It ain't that. It's like we.
Yeah, because people are trying to paint this a little bit like revenge, and what you're telling me, it's not exactly that.
Oh, it's revenge.
It is revenge.
A little bit. It gotta be.
Yeah, but it's not. It doesn't sound like personal
it ain't
revenge.
personal,
It's competitive
no.
revenge.
It's competitive revenge. Yes. Who doesn't want to beat the person that beat them in the amateur?
Right.
So, it's like if you want to ask my personal, if you want to ask about our personal, thank you. Even though I worked my way up to this point, you know what I'm saying? Like, I worked my way up, but appreciate it. I would do the same. I would fight him. If the roles were reversed, I would fight him.
Right. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
So,
I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I have to ask just a few more things. One, is there any way to explain to the audience just what a win would mean here for, not in terms of how it would change your life, but in terms of like, a world title is what some boxers say they want, but at the same time, it's prize fighting.
Yeah.
And this seems to be obviously more the latter than the former. And so I'm kind of wondering, what would a win like this mean? Not what would it do, but internally to you, what would it mean?
Okay, so it would mean a lot on a lot of different levels. Excuse me. Like a win would definitely accomplish one of my goals, one of the many goals that I had. I already scratched world champion now, but this would be 2-division world champion. And then personally, it will be life-changing, of course, with the money. And then the upside after I win, because now it's like a flip. Now it might be, okay, Lamont Roach is a household name now. But then, to me, super, super personally, so my cousin was my trainer before he passed away. Mm-hmm. My dad wasn't always my head trainer. My cousin was. He always told me since I was a kid that I'll be one of the best to ever lace up a pair of gloves. I think this right here is the start to that journey. This is the start to my legendary Hall of Fame run.
And everything else has set you up for this moment, for this day. Before we go, Mount Rushmore DC athletes. That means top 4. Give me your top 4 ever. It could be any sport. Top 4 DC athletes. Here we go.
Whew. Me.
Okay.
Mark II shot.
Okay. Mr. Johnson, all right.
Elgin Baylor.
Nice call. That fourth is tough. That fourth is tough. You want to give, I could throw in a name. I mean, we were just past Seat Pleasant. Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant from Prince George's County.
Yeah. Oh, okay, but DC area. I mean, you know.
But DC area, then that's hard. Then
Okay.
I'll have to probably take.
So you mean like DC proper?
I was talking
Yeah.
about DC proper.
Okay.
But if anything, I would probably have to take me off. If you want to do this area,
Yeah.
Sugar Ray Leonard and Kevin Durant.
Okay. All right. With that in mind, my last one before we go. True or false? And you better get this right, or we are going to have problems. All right, here we go. Is Baltimore a part of the DMV? True or false?
You asking me a yes or no question?
Okay, so yes or no?
No.
Okay. There. Thank you.
What?
Thank you.
Everybody
Yes.
know that.
You would think that. You would think that.
Everybody know that.
Everyone from this area knows that.
Yeah.
People around the country are like, "Oh yeah, Baltimore. It's like part of the DMV." I'm like,
that's not
"No, the
part
fuck
of
it is
DMV.
not." Okay.
Yes, it ain't. Trust me. Go. You take a trip to Baltimore after you've been here for a couple days and see if it's the same.
Yeah, they don't talk the same. And Old Bay, overrated. Little overrated. All right. There he is. That's Lamont Roach Jr. It's going to be, okay, last one on this. We still doing December 14th? When is this fight going to happen?
Still on for December 14th. Despite all the rumors
Okay.
or whatever the case may be.
Houston, Texas.
I haven't heard anything that said,
As far as you know.
as far as I know, we on December 14th. Now, if this change, don't say nothing to me. That's all I'm going to say. If we still on,
Okay. You're preparing as if that's the day.
yes, that's
Okay.
why we in here right now.
All right, here we are. We're here in No Excuse. What's the formal name? No Excuse Boxing Club?
No excuse boxing.
No Excuse Boxing Club here in Capitol Heights, Maryland. That's Lamont Roach Jr. trying to change the face of boxing and
Yeah, for sure.
put himself at the top of
For
it.
sure.
We'll see you guys next time.